All right, let's look at the 2016 release test for the 8th grade mathematics. Here we go. I wrote down my 1, 2, 3s to the side here. If you read the question, it talks about raising money for a field trip and all that's fun and dandy, but the key word says, I don't know, least to greatest, right there. So if you look at my 1, 2, 3s, let's look at them. Number 1, I wrote least to greatest, and that's ascending, and I need that information. Number 2, I'm going to put my data in list 1, and then I'm going to go back to stat, and you'll see the second one says sort A. You're going to put list 1 and close that parenthesis and push enter. It should say done. And then if you go back to your list, you'll see your list listed below. And I wrote number 3, the answers to that. Here's my calculator. I just inputted the data from the table. So I put your 0.7, your 2/3, your 5/8, and your 65%. To get the 65%, you do 65 over 100. I wrote that right there for you. I put this on here so I know which one's which. Now here is my calculator, stat. You're going to go to the second one because I want ascending, list 1, close that parenthesis, push enter, it says done. If you go back to stat and push edit, you'll see your list, least to greatest. So 62, 65, 66, 70. And that was answer choice C. Question 2. If you read the question, it talks about which graph shows a proportional relationship between x and y. The key word would be proportional. Over here, I wrote my 1, 2, 3. So number 1 is proportional. What do you know about proportional? You should know it starts at 0, 0. You should know it's going to look like y equals mx plus 0. There is no b. And if you look at these graphs, here's 0, 0. And the only graph that crosses that line would be choice F. Easy. Choice F. Question 3. You were told to take point M and then go left and go down and create point M prime. So there's my 2 points. It asks you for the distance between these two ordered pairs. You got M and M prime. Now, a distance is a length. I've wrote this down at the bottom. And a length could be a hypotenuse or a leg because that's all you know on graphs with length. So I went back and drew my right triangle, and you can see it's kind of sideways, but that's okay. I need to know this length and I need to know this length. So if you count the squares, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you count these squares, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's your lengths, and I need C. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this one's A, this one's B, and this one's C, and go get it. A and B can interchange, so it doesn't matter. Over here to the side, you'll see my formula. So C equals A squared plus B squared, and that's a square root of all of that. Let's look at what I did on the calculator. There's my calculator. I got $12.04 if I round, and I'm taking the answer D. All right, let's look at question 4, interest. And I know y'all don't like that, but that's okay. We'll make it work. She invested $15,000 in an account that pays 4% annual simple interest. Remember, there is compound. She will not make additional deposits or withdrawals. How much interest will she earn on her investment at the end of 3 years? So here's the deal. Interest is like money. It's like a bonus round to you. It's free money as far as I'm concerned. 4% means 4 pennies per dollar. Now, if you have $15,000 times 4 pennies times 3 years, that will tell you how much money you will make in 3 years. So type that in your calculator and you should get 1,800. And by the way, that answer is F. Again, 4% means 4 pennies per dollar. So if you can draw out 15,000 $1 bills, put 4 pennies on each one of them, multiply that by 3 years, and that's how much money you would make. Not a lot, but definitely the answer of 1,800. Next question. Question 3, you've got a graph talking about an aquarium filled with water. The graph below shows the height of the table, and I'm going to scoot back. There's your graph. So if you're asked to find rate of change, and I circled it, so my number 1 is going to be rate of change. I know rate of change means slope. Slope means rise over run, or M, or cost of 1, or y equals mx plus b. True, but that's the M part. And I need to solve. So question 3. Now, if you did M, you're going to have to put these points that you pull off this line in list 1, list 2, and then do len reg list 1, list 2, y1. That's a lot of trouble. Or I could just count, do rise over run. Now, I don't have a number here, so I went on up to 5. So you're going to rise 5 and go over 2. Try it again. Go up 5 and go over 2. 5, 2. So my rise over run is going to be right here. I went up 5 and I went over 2. That simplifies to 2.5 over 1. And if you look, that's choice D. Next one. Number 6, you have a building here. Somebody's standing 6 feet tall. The shadow is 3 feet, whatever. The building is how tall? Don't know. Go get it. This length is 18 feet. They want to know which proportion can find H. So I'm looking for H. So over here, number 1, what do you know? I know it's a proportion because it says so. And if you look, I see them. Those are proportions. Number 2, you should know the start diagonal divide. And if you don't, you do now. So let's look at what pictures you have. You have a 6 and a 3. And I'm going to draw a little pumpkin line right there. Isn't that sweet? And this is an 18. And this is an H. By the way, this H would go here too. And this length here is the same length as the building. So that would work for me. So if I erase all those dumb pictures, I have 6 on top, 3 on bottom, H on top, 18 on bottom. It's got to be same stuff. So this was tall, this was tall. This was base, this was base. You put your finger on H. You slide over and put a dot. Then you draw a diagonal. Dot, dot. Should look like a mouse's nose. Less than or greater than works too. Now over here, you need to draw them in. Whoever matches is the winner. I like to look at that end. Divide by 3. Does that say divide by 3? No, it says divide by 18. That says divide by 3. That says divide by 15. That one says divide by 6. Winner, G. Next question. All right, so I've got a carnival thing going on. I've got money. I've got all these entry fees and all this kind of stuff. And that fee word should be a pretty darn good hint to you. So you've got per, you have fee, and if you don't know what that is, you should. So over here, that's y equals mx plus b. That's an equation. It says to be the same, and that means a lot to me because same means equal, and equal means y1, y2, y not, because that needs an equal sign with it. That's definitely important. So here's carnival M. That's per. That's my fee. Carnival P, there's my per, there's my fee, and I wrote that over here for you. So this goes in y1, this goes in y2, and when they equal, you pick that answer over here. So let's set it in the calculator. There's my equations in the calculator. Make sure you put an X in there if you don't mind. I'm going to do graph. I did zoom fit, that's zoom 3, so I got the cross there. Whoops, bell. I'm going to do second trace 5, 1, 2, 3. And my answer says 25, and I'm going to pick it. Question 7 is 25. Question 8. Question 8. Question 8 says there's a parallelogram, and then it says rotate 90 degrees. And it says clockwise, not counterclock. Now, you have to have that little handy-dandy pattern memorized, and I wrote it down. You got 90 clock, 180 clock, 270 clock. And then the reverse of that is 90, 180, 270. But these are counterclock. You start with x comma y. You have your yields, and this is flip, don't flip. 1 negative, 2 negatives, 1 negative, and it starts x's first. So, and it says which one down here is 90 degrees clockwise. Well, clockwise is right there. So that would be this one. So I need a y and a negative x. How about choice J? Question 9. Question 9 talks about y varies directly with x. Now, if it says varies directly, folks, that's slope. So, in its proportion. So, that means it goes through 0, 0 on the graph. It means it would start diagonal divide if you've got a word problem. So, let's set up our word problem. It says y equals 75. So, here's my y, 75. X is half. I wrote it. And then it says, I don't know what y is. Go get it in a minute. And then it says x is 2 1/4. So there's my start diagonal divide. Remember, here's my variable. Put my finger here, start diagonal divide, dot, dot. That's what it looks like in the calculator. And so you got 75 times parenthesis 2 plus 1 divided by 4 parenthesis divide by parenthesis 1 divided by 2 parenthesis. And if you push the enter button, you get 337. Pretty easy. Question 10. Question 10's got a triangle prism, and it says so in case you're lost. Now, if you're looking at that little triangle prism, I was thinking, whoops, you don't have this number, but yeah, you're right, it's a 5. Hey, what about the height? I don't know. I sure don't. Now, I might need this, I might not. And I'm going to discuss how to find that real quick. Remember, this is base is 6, but this is not a right triangle. This half is. Half of 6 is 3, so that base is 3. So we can move that out of the way for right now. If that's 3, and I don't know, and that's 5, how are you going to figure out I don't know? And that's height, and that's A, because we do B for base. Now, if you go over here in this handy-dandy formula and type in square root of C squared minus B squared, so the square root of 5 squared minus 3 squared, you'll get the answer of 4. How nice. And that would tell you this height is 4. Now let's finish what we're supposed to be doing. It says lateral surface area. If it says lateral, then you need to do the walls only. So that's just really the rectangle part. We're not doing the triangle parts. Now it says perimeter times height. Now the perimeter is tied to the triangle. Now if you look at that triangle, outside of the triangle, you got 3 sides, and you got a 5, 5, and 6. And you have your 8 for the height of the 3D image. That 4 I found I didn't need, but it was good practice for you. If you typed out in the calculator, you get 128. Question 11, lovely scatter plot. Even says so right there, scatter plot. Now, over here it says, what conclusion do you know about a scatter plot? Well, my number one would be, this is what I know. If it goes up, it's positive. If it goes down, it's negative. If it goes left and right, there's no change. So if it's no change, it's the same. It didn't go up, didn't go down. Now, if you read, this one says increase, that's an A. Remains the same, that's this one, flat line. And decrease would be going down. And this one here says no relationship. And if you look at those polka dots, guys, I don't see any relationship. It's just all over the place. It's like confetti. There's no pattern. Answer D. Question 12. What are the slope and y-intercepts of the graph of the linear function shown on this grid? Well, I've got me a line. Aren't I lucky? I see 2 points. How nice for me. Some of y'all do those points backwards anyway. And it says, go find slope and go find y-intercept. Now, you better know y-intercept. You better know. Y-intercept is what? Where it crosses the y-axis. So, is this point right there, is that -6 or -1.5? And I should point out -6 is sitting right here. You better be getting 1.5. It's this one or this one. And the other two are wrong. Don't be picking them. And let's make sure we don't pick them. Always omit stuff that's pure wrong. And if you look at these two, they're actually reciprocal. Isn't that 4/1? Yes, you're right. Now here's what you're going to do. Put your little pencil on the point. And you're going to go up this line. So you want to go up the line, don't go down. And be on top of the line counting. I want the stairs on top. So how do you get from this point to this point? Should you go up 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 and go over 1? Do you see a line there? Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, go over 1. I do not see a line there. Let me try another point. Here's a new point. 1, 2, 3, 4, go over 1. I don't see a line there. How about go up 1 and go left 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Try that one again. Go up 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like 1/4. Answer's H. The other way was reciprocal wrong. Alrighty, question 13. You got a preschool with a rectangle field and a rectangle playground. I drew you a picture. I didn't draw them big or little because I didn't know. I didn't look hard. So there's your field, like, soccer field, and here's a playground. I just drew them the same. They're at least rectangles. It does say similar, so I got that part right. Next, it says each dimension of the field is 3.2 times the corresponding dimensions of the playground. So the question is, what'd they say? So here's the short version. The field is 3.2 times playground. There's the short version. So I wrote the field is means equals because 2 plus 2 is 4. That's equals 3 times playground. That means if the playground is x, this is 3.2 times x. So, and that should be a 2 there. But you get the idea. So let's continue on. It says the area of the field is 6.4 times bigger, or the area is 10.24. And where do they get these numbers in? What about the area and perimeter? Now, let's go back to the original. If you did perimeter, it would be feet to the first power. That board is 3 feet long, feet to the first. The area of that room is 12 feet squared. The volume of that vase is 14 inches cubed. Use this number to help you solve it. So if they say area, and they did right here, take this number times 2, and that means 3.2 caret top 2. And 3.2 to the caret top is 3.2 to the caret top 2 is 10.24, which is where they're getting that answer. Now, that one's right, that one's wrong. Now, what about the perimeter business? Well, take this number, caret top 1, and that's true too. And you don't have one of those. This answer is 1024, and this answer is 3.2. You don't have the second one. The answer is B. Real quick, that line is negative and crosses at 3, so you either have G or H. And if you do the slope, if you go up 2, right 1, it's not on the slope. So 2 over 1 is wrong, so 1 over 2 must be right. So let's see. Go up 1 over 2. That one's right. How about the answer of, oh, I don't know, J? Buenos nachos.